Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Lead Her podcast. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, you will see I am in a different room. We have actually headed down to Spain for the winter period. We did this last year and we absolutely loved it. It was one of the best things we do. We just thought, God, we need to do this again. So we're hugely grateful to be back down here. But it also gave me an idea for our podcast today, because this time last year when we came down, I was in a total different headspace, in a total different place. And it's been the whole foundation of all the work that I did when we were in Spain, really kind of helped us develop Lead Her and create this podcast. Because when we came last year, I was almost in a place where I was like, I don't know if I want to coach anymore. I don't know if I still want to do this, but this is what I've done for 8 odd years. Like, what else am I? Who else am I? What else can I do? And I've just finished reading Confessions of a 40-Year-Old Fuck Up. I don't know if you've read it yourself, but I finished it last week and I just absolutely loved it. And I thought it's another reason to do this podcast, because we all think, like, when we're 40, when we're 30, when we're a parent, when we're 50, we always think, like, when we get that job, when we do that thing, we will have our life all together. Like, when we're 21 and we get our degree, or when we get our first job, we're like, right, that's me, a professional woman now. This is what my life's going to look like. It's all mapped out. Everything's going to be wonderful. Everything's going to be magical. And it's really not the case. Like, we all have our own thing going on, our own problems going on, our own struggles going on. Like, everybody's struggling. No one has it plain sailing. And of course, we have those boss babe weeks when we feel on it. But majority of us are going through some tough times at certain stages in our life. And like, last year in Spain was definitely that time for me. And there's a few things that I did to personally bring me out of that kind of stuck place that I'm going to chat with you guys today. But I think for me, like, and you might be feeling the same, like, you're not in a bad place. And sometimes, like, when things aren't terrible, we don't do anything about it. We just kind of subdue that feeling of not being completely happy, and we just try and keep on going. Or we maybe buy into a course, or we maybe go into a hobby, or we do some retail therapy, or we cook a new meal. Like, we try to do new and different things to put a plaster on the wound, but the reality is, it is just a plaster. And that feeling of lost or unfulfilledness like I had, or that lack of clarity on what you want to do, or just feeling fed up, deflated, bored feeling, is just getting covered up with that new exciting thing that you're buying into. And you can't keep doing that, because then you're going to get more lost, more unfulfilled. Trust me, I did it. And it's like, you need to start addressing these things that you do want to do, and start taking these directions that you want to go in, and starting to, like, strip things back a wee bit. And you don't need to be in a horrible place. That's what I was just going to go on to there, is like, I felt that everything was good, so I can't complain. But that is not true. Everything, you can still complain. Your feelings are valid. You feel that way for a certain reason. You feel that way because you're missing something, you're lacking something, you're going against your values, you're doing something that you don't believe in anymore, or you're not giving yourself enough time, that you are feeling that way, and you're allowed to feel that way. Don't ever think that because you're not in a lot of pain, or because someone's got it harder than you, you can't feel the way you feel. You have to listen to that gut feeling, that little part inside you that just feels sad, or feels down, or feels frustrated, and really starting to explore it. So that's what I did last year. And before I came out, I did start working with my coach, Jen. And I do want to say first, like, if you are going through change, get help. Like, I was trying to do it by myself, and I did end up buying into a course, and I spent a lot of money on that course, and I didn't even do it. And it was just a waste of time, and it was just me putting that plaster on the wound and looking for something different. Get an actual coach that can help you, whether that's going to be a therapist, or whether that's going to be a mentor at work, or whether that is a personal trainer, a coach, to kind of help you doing the things that you know you need to do to start feeling better within yourself, and not just kind of ignoring it, or just trying to plow on through it, because it does not make you feel any better. So I do think, like, having someone to support you along the way is really, really important. And I do think, like, opening up about it is key as well, because I felt I was the only person in the world that felt like this. I felt like I was the only girl. I felt like all my friends maybe had it all worked out. They all had their great jobs. Or I felt like everybody on Instagram has their kids, has their family. They all know where they're going. And it's not true. And reading that book really reminded me of it, which is why I was like, I need to do another podcast on this, because it's just really good to know you're not alone, and to allow yourself to feel these feelings and know that it can change. And that kind of brings me on to another point, is that you need to give yourself time to do this. Sometimes we think it's something that's just a 6 weeks fix. We're just going to feel like that for 2 weeks and it's going to go away. I felt like this for a long ass time. Like, if in my head, like, obviously sometimes we extend it through time frame in our brains. Sometimes that's what we do. But I do think like August, September last year was when I started working with Jen as she was a vision coach then, and started with her then, and then we came out here kind of end of October. So I kind of started doing a little bit of work before we came here, but that was from all the way from like September, August when I started with her, all the way through to maybe kind of December, January, coming home, and then starting this podcast in February. It wasn't till February this year, which is insane, because I feel like this has always been here, and I feel like this is always like what I've been doing originally, but I just hadn't put a label on it. And it took me so much work to do to really understand that and to really bring it out to the surface. It took a lot of time. And it's like any goal, whether it is fat loss or whether it is like changing your career or whether it is learning a new thing or whether it is like me, just like finding yourself again and building your confidence again. It takes time, because you've maybe not done this thing in a long time, or like maybe you've been speaking to yourself in such a shit way for so long. That's not going to be undone in a couple of weeks. And like, you know as well, like, it's already November. Like, time flies. It doesn't matter if it's going to take you a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Like, I feel like when you're older, time actually goes faster, that it's better to give yourself more time to do this. Because for me, it felt like a really long time, but it was time worth spending and time that really helped me unlock this now and be able to have the opportunity to do this with you guys today. Like, if I didn't want to spend that time or commit that time, I would never have got here. And it's going to take the time it takes. It doesn't matter. The time's going to pass either way. So just broaden your horizons, whatever goal it is. Just like give yourself more time to do it, because that's sometimes why we quit, is because we've not done it in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and it's hard and it's tough. And again, like, progress isn't linear. It's not always going to just go up, 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 improve. For me, it was like I got a wee bit of clarity and then I did a big drop. Low confidence, what am I doing, questioning life. Then I got a wee bit up again, and another little low time. It's funny because the low times always seem to come around my time of the month when the tears all came back out again. But it's always like it goes up and down and up and down. But overall, I was still making progress and I was still improving where I was. It's just that it was never linear and never perfectly straight. So like, by not giving yourself just 2 weeks to improve your mindset, or 4 weeks or 5 weeks or 6 weeks, give yourself time. Spread it out, because then you're going to enjoy the process. You're going to be less stressed about it. There's less pressure about it, and you can give yourself that space and time. So that's another thing. It's going to take as long as it takes, and don't beat yourself up if it does take time, because it took me a hell of a long time and it was so blooming worth it. Okay, so give yourself time. Make sure you've got help and advice and someone that you trust to speak to, because that will be really good. Like I said, I had Jen. Then it's like, the big thing with Spain is that it created space for me. And I know some of you cannot get space because you maybe are a parent, or maybe work is so full on, or like you can't, like us, just pick up your life and come to Spain. I 100% get that. But I think it's giving yourself permission for half an hour of the day, or whether it is just turning off a few weekends and being a wee bit more selfish, because you've got all your life to go out and see your friends. You've got all your life to work more. You've got 30 minutes in your day, 100%, where you could easily sit on your phone and scroll and do shit. I committed myself again, and this comes into the timeline. I gave myself like a 12-week journaling plan. It was like a little book that I bought. If you want to know it, just tell me and I'll put it in the podcast description in case you're interested, but it's not probably everybody's thing. I am not a journaler, and I just want to say that because lots of people right now will be like, right, I'm switching this off because I'm not going to journal. I was the same. I just didn't do it, and I see Joe all the time writing stuff down, and I see how well he does, and I'm like, wish I could be that person, and I'm not. I've actually got my journal here. So a year on, I'm still doing it. But to get me started with it, I had to commit to like, right, I'm going to give myself this 12-week goal to do this, just to build up the habits of doing the journaling every day. I tied it in with my morning coffee. So I would be like, right, giving myself permission to do this, because sometimes like we don't give ourselves permission to just spend 30 minutes on our phone, and then we spend 30 minutes on our phone and we feel guilty and we feel bad. So you almost need to just give yourself permission to think and give yourself permission to breathe and stop and slow down. So like cancel some plans, give yourself 30 minutes a day, give yourself a weekend, or maybe just going off on holiday. Like some of you guys maybe have the privilege of you go on holiday and you don't need to work. That's amazing. Like with myself and Joe, we don't have that. We have a great career and it allows us to travel, but it means like we never really get to fully switch off. But coming here for us almost just helped us to step away from the house chores, because this isn't our stuff. So you don't care about it as much in the nicest way possible. If you're renting, you don't care as much. That taking that space away just gave me more time to think and be with my thoughts. I tied that 30 minutes a day where I allowed myself to do this for 30 minutes of the day and not have to do anything else, because I would be on my phone anyway wasting time. But for some reason to do this, I was like, I don't have time to do that. I should be working right now. Why am I journaling? Whereas I was like, no, this is important to you and you have to do this. This is your 12-week goal. And listen, guys, I was never perfect with it. Like there was days where I would forget and that's fine. And I would just pick it back up again. And I'd be like, whoops, sorry, I've not done my journaling today. But writing stuff down and just having time to think without your phone, and without like being like, oh, I need to go out and see this person tonight, or I need to go out and do this thing tonight, or I need to do this thing for the house, I need to do this cleaning. Like we will always go to doing things for distraction. Like I said earlier, it's just putting a plaster on the wound and it gives you a quick fix and it gives you a quick high. It distracts you. Alcohol or going out with friends or doing the shopping or doing that thing around the house, like you are distracting yourself from answering the real problems that you need to address and you need to look into. So I think like for me, it was just giving myself that space to not be doing as many things, not seeing as many people, not as much noise, coming away from my phone and actually listening to my thoughts and what was in my head and writing it down, and following that 12-week kind of journaling plan, which you can get loads of them online. But that one for me really helped me sit down and reflect. And I started to understand that my life and everything that I've been through got me so far with my business, and that was great. But I was starting to feel really unfulfilled with it. And that's because I wasn't seeing myself as successful. I wasn't seeing myself as I'm doing good. I just seen all our members do good and I was so happy for them. And I'm like, yes, our members are killing it. They're doing so good. Like I'm so happy for them. But I wasn't happy for me. And for so long, I was never really taking part. And I did that. I helped them do that. Like they would not have done that unless they joined our program. I never ever seen it that way. I just seen it. I was like, oh yeah, they're doing amazing. They don't need me. Like they're doing so good. They don't need me anymore. That's what I was constantly retelling myself. And like I said, I was doing that for so long and I didn't even notice I was doing it. And it wasn't until I took this thinking time in this space and I stopped and I slowed down that I realised like I do so much and I've helped so many women build confidence. I have changed so many women's lives from giving the plans and giving them the support and giving them the thinking time and the help and the space that they needed for them to come up with their own thing as well, for them to grow. Like I am actually doing an amazing thing, but I never spoke to myself that way. And it wasn't until I started working with Jen, doing the journaling, getting the thinking time, allowing myself to feel that I wanted to change, helped me really start to unlock these things. So now that I know my worth and that I actually do contribute and actually do amazing things, I am now ready to take into the next level. And that's where Lead Her came from, because it's like this bright lighthouse that is here to help women really grow. And it's like, I couldn't do that before because I didn't believe that's what I was doing. I wanted to do it, but I didn't believe I was good enough to do it. And it did that work that it really unlocked this different version. Sorry, I feel like I'm going on for ages today, but again, just being back in this space is bringing it all back for me. So I'm getting super excited. So, yes, I did that journaling. I did the journaling and tied it in with another hobby, which was my coffee. In the morning, I'd sit and think and do it. And I hated doing it and I didn't enjoy doing it. But again, it really helped me lock this understanding. What do I want to do? Where do I want to be? What am I doing? And every day I would write down that I am helping people. I am changing women's lives. Like I am helping people become more confident, which was then improving their life and different aspects of their life. Like I am a lighthouse. I was writing that down every day. And I started to believe it, which was amazing. So you have your little phrase or have that little thing that you believe you want to do and write it down. And I know it sounds so gay, but we can always do more journaling tips in the future. But that was something that I did. And that also adds into the next thing, which was routine. I had a routine. So sometimes like when we feel, again, we go into that victim mode, and when we're in victim mode, we just think, what's the point? Doesn't care, doesn't matter, nobody cares anyway. I'm never going to be able to do it. So then we prove to ourselves we're never doing it. So we stop working out, we start drinking more alcohol, then we feel more negative, then we're sleeping in, we're pressing snooze. We start going on this decline because we don't believe we can make success and we can change. So you need to have a stable routine, you need to have stability, and you need to just have habits and behaviours in place that you just keep doing no matter what, no matter how you feel. Because sometimes people can be really rash and just give up everything. I'm not enjoying my job, so I'm just going to give up completely. I was still doing the work. I was still there for our members. I was still coaching. I was still doing the things that I needed to do because I still wanted our members to win, and I still cared about them, and I still loved them, and I wanted them to do well. I was still getting up in the morning, training, looking after myself, looking after my health. I wasn't just neglecting myself because I wasn't happy in this area of life. And I say to everyone all the time, like, if you are not happy, it all stems from our mindset and our body. You have to get your body right. So never make any drastic decisions and change things overnight just because we're feeling this way. We have to get back to the basics and really get your mindset right, really get your body right before you change anything. Before you change anything in a relationship, before you change job, before you do anything with like skills, hobbies, like I said, just putting that plaster on the wound. Start getting yourself right. So I would get up, I would train, I would walk the dog, and that was me giving myself 3 wins right away in the morning. I'd got up before my alarm and I trained and I'd walked the dog. 3 things that I had done in the morning that made me feel amazing, and I gave myself a win for that. Because before I was doing that, I was just getting up, pressing snooze, going, oh, for God's sake, you've slept in. Oh, now we need to go and train. Oh, you're training rubbish because you're injured. I was like getting in this self-pity party, and I was like, no more. Like, right, let's get up, get the alarm done. Let's serve me. Let's get the walk in. Like, I know all of us don't have that opportunity, but you can do it at lunchtime. You can do it at the end of the day. Start serving yourself and looking after yourself, because if you look after yourself, everything else in life is going to benefit from that as well. Okay. Lastly, apologies, my camera died there, is that start talking about it. Like I kind of said at the very beginning, so many of us feel like the only person that felt like this, and you probably heard people on the podcast and many of our guests recently are people that I started speaking to and actually discussing what I was going through and not feeling very, like, again, not feeling guilty for my feelings and for feeling the way I did, and not being scared to talk about these things and to really open up about it and help other people realise like they're not alone, and it is okay to feel down and feel frustrated and feel lost, to really help yourself discover yourself again. And sometimes we need to have these low times and these tough times. I always think these are the times that mean the most, and these are the times that you actually look back on really fondly and go, I'm so glad I came through that. And you always come through out of it, the back of it, in a better place as well. So start speaking to other people, and if you don't have other people, because I know what it can be like when you just have those friends that don't really get it, is like listen to podcasts, because obviously we were here, we didn't really know many people, so I was listening to like Mel Robbins, I was listening to just like YouTube videos, TED Talks, like really opening my eyes up to like more podcasts like this that are more just conversations like this that did make me feel better for thinking the way I was. Okay, so listen to things like that, or listen to books or audio books, and listen to them out on a walk, and start kind of accepting it's okay to feel like this. Your feelings are valid, and you will get through it. And just think of any other tough time that you have been through. You got through it before. You will get through this too, but keep working on it, because it's so worth the time and it's so worth the work. So just to kind of summarise, you want to make sure that you've got someone to support you through the process, because doing it alone is really freaking hard and really, really, really freaking lonely. So either make sure that you've got the right people around you, or you have got some support in the right way, whether it's a mentor, a coach, or therapy. Create space to think. Coming here was huge for us. Give yourself the time to change. Don't expect it to be quick. Don't expect it to change overnight. It's going to take time. It's going to take work, because it's took a lot of time for you to get in a bad place. It's going to take a lot of time to get yourself out of that. Make sure you're maintaining a healthy routine. Look after your mind, look after your body. One thing I didn't say was don't fill your head with junk. Don't just fill your head with action movies and junk TV and crappy magazines that are all negative. Even the news. Me and Joe stopped watching the news after kind of lockdown and all that, because it was just so negative every day. It was absolutely depressing us. And yes, it's really bad. I don't really know what's going on in the world right now, and I should maybe maybe should pay more of attention, but for us it's crucial just to kind of dip in and take little bits at a time. But yeah, stop filling your head with so much negativity, because then you're constantly in fear and constantly have that negative belief system. So make sure you've got a healthy mindset and body routine. Journal. I know it sounds silly, even if journal's not for you, you could maybe think of something else. Maybe it could be meditation, maybe it could be jigsaws, maybe it could be colouring in, maybe it could be doing dot-to-dot Sudoku. Find your thing that helps you think and stop and slow down, and allow yourself the time to do that. Celebrate all your wins, even if you're hating your job right now, even if you're hating your relationship. Find things that you like about it, find things that you love again, and start celebrating those little wins and rebuilding that confidence back up again. And then speak to others. And listen, I'm always here as well, and I say this every episode, I love hearing from you. I love hearing what you're up to. I love hearing you boss it. I also love to hear that I'm not alone and that you've struggled and related to this too. So I'm always here if you want to chat as well. But we're here, we're back, and I'm excited to see what my head will come up for improving Lead Her even more going into the 2024. But other than that, I hope this episode has been beneficial. You've got a lot of things there that you can work through to start improving your mindset too, and starting to find that confidence in yourself again. Okay, good luck, keep me posted with how you get on, and I'll speak to you all soon.